Hey guys, Nuno from NunoSolutions.com. Today I would just like to show you guys a project that I did. I think it was 2014 or 2015 or something like that. Basically, I had to learn HTML5 and just I wanted to learn the graphics APIs that were in JavaScript, like the newer ones with Canvas, that kind of and SVGs and all that stuff. So I ended up deciding, you know what, I'm gonna build a video game, and that's what I did. I built a video game. I actually downloaded all the graphics and the music from the internet because I'm not an artist. Obviously, I'm a developer, but um, but I think the game came out okay. So I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like, and then I'll just kind of run through the code, show you guys how I did and what I did and why, and give you a little bit of explanation. And then obviously the code, you can use it for free anywhere you want. So all right, so here's the HTML file that I'm gonna run. Obviously, you guys know who these guys are. I was a big Nintendo gamer, and I loved Super Mario when I was a kid. I grew up with it, so obviously, when I searched for graphics, I wanted to search for something like this, right? Obviously, it was perfect for what I was trying, just to learn, for learning purposes. So I'll show you what it looks like. You can press D or A to select a character, right? You can see it switches back and forth, and then you can press Enter to start the game, and then to swim, you're gonna press W on your keyboard, right? Or you can click with your mouse. So I'm gonna press enter and I'm gonna start the game. And the goal of this game is to kind of swim through the pipes and not get hit. You see, obviously it's not as easy as it looks. So I'm actually, see, I got extra life. So obviously I can make this as hard as I want, and it will. Obviously, the game, after you lose your lives, you have 3 lives by default. You lose. So that's basically the game. But anyway, the point is, as you can control how hard this game is because you could set how fast and up and down the motion or the force of the gravity is, and that makes it a lot harder to play. So let me close this and open up my Visual Studio Code. I'll show you what the code looks like. So real quick, I have a CSS file, just setting the canvas display to 100% of the view height and the view width. You have to use this display block on the canvas, or else you're gonna have extra space and you'll get scroll bars, horizontal and vertical scroll bars. I don't know why. I think it's because it's displayed in line by default. I'm also setting the background to black by default and setting the margin to 0. And this is actually not needed. This was something old that was there. Don't worry about that. So the other thing I have here is obviously I have the images that I downloaded from the internet. And you can see here I have a few Luigis. I have a few Marios. These you can see here. These are like the swimming. The other thing is I have clouds, which you saw in the game. The clouds. I also have these pipes. The original pipes that I downloaded were a lot smaller. I actually stretched them out because I needed them to be bigger so I can do different sizes of pipes vertically, from the top and from the bottom of the map. The other thing is, obviously, I know that I didn't actually need to create two. I could have just flipped them vertically, using math, but no big deal. And I got the heart. Okay, so the other thing is that I have here is music files. I have the swimming music sound. I have the Super Mario background music. I have the dead sound when you lose a life. I have a coin sound when you pass through the pipe. I have a 1-up. Actually, I don't know. I think if you pass a certain number, oh yeah, we did it. If you pass, I think 5 pipes, I think that's what I set it to. You get a 1-up. And the power up, I don't think I even use. So let me close this. Go back into VS Code. This utilities JS file, I found it somewhere on the internet. I actually don't remember because I created this like 6 years ago or something like that. So the only one I think I use is the point and rect, and the reason why I use that is to detect if Mario or Luigi hit a pipe. You know what I mean? And that's all that I use that for. There's actually a lot of functions here that I didn't need, but I left them in there because I didn't know if I would need them. So now I'm not going to delete them anyway because I might need them for the future. The other thing is I have a Sprite. Basically, it's a variable, but I use this almost like if you're familiar with C#, it's almost like a .NET class. I instantiate multiple copies of this variable, and you can see here it has a create function, and the create function uses the object.create to instantiate an actual object, and at the same time it also creates a new image image property. It creates a brand new image object within it as well. That's where that property is what actually holds the bitmap or the image, right, for the sprite. If you don't know what a sprite is, yeah, in video games when you're developing video games, my understanding is a sprite is an image or multiple images that get shown and hidden in a video game. The other thing I've seen is a sprite can also be multiple images, just one bitmap of multiple images, where you use math to pick which one you want to show based on the XY coordinates of the location of the sprite you want to use. In my case, I ended up using multiple sprite objects, one for swimming forward and then swimming backward. You know what I mean? So I didn't actually use one. I could have used just one file though if I wanted to, but I chose not to do that. And the reason why is because that's how when I downloaded the images, that's how they came. So when I downloaded them, so anyway. So let's go look at the default HTML file. So in here, obviously, I'm linking the CSS and the JavaScript files. But I'm also, what you're probably interested in most is, number one, where all the audio files are being linked in this default HTML. I'm using the audio tag. And you see I have the Mario, the Dead, the Swim, the Coin MP3, the Power Up MP3, all the audio files are in here. So what I end up doing in the main.js file is getting a reference to these using document.getElement by ID. And then, and if you don't know this, but there's a play, when you get a reference to an audio tag in JavaScript in HTML5, you can actually use a play function to start the music or pause to pause it. And I think you can use stop. I don't know if I ever used stop though, but I think there is. The other thing is we use the canvas tag. Canvas tags are basically a drawable surface, that you could put on your HTML page, and it could be any size. Obviously, this is what I was talking about before. The idea of this tag is my canvas in the default CSS, where I'm making it 100% or 100% height and width of the screen, basically. So now the next important thing is the main guts of the video game, basically. So I actually have a self-calling function. I'm using the add event listener to hook to the load event, right? Because I only want to execute the main function, right? Once everything is loaded, right? Because I don't want to risk not being able to get a reference to an element in the HTML document. It's just simpler to do it this way. It's common practice, I believe, too. So anyway, the other thing is this is where I have right after this, I declare all my variables that I'm going to need. Like, as an example, frames per second, I could change this here and make it whatever value I want, right? I just set it to 30 frames per second by default. But there's a lot of different variables where you can take a look. Like, for example, here's the Mario and Luigi sprites. I'm actually using the sprite.create method, which I showed before in here, to create the object. Create brand new objects, a new instance of these objects. The other thing is I have an array for pipes, an array for clouds, because obviously you saw there's a lot of different clouds on the screen. And I also randomize with the position of the clouds and which ones move faster and slower than the others. I have gravity, which that's the gravity force of how it's basically like you're pushing Mario down, right? You have to press up to swim. It's the gravity is the push force, right? Have jump force. I have the pipe X. You can look through these. These are not a huge deal. Some of them are pretty much self-explanatory. Anyway, so we have swim 1, swim 2, and dead image. I'm not sure what I use these for. I don't remember, but I know that these two right here, Mario and Luigi sprites, I load them separately on a separate image objects, because when they select Mario or they select Luigi, I then use my main sprite. I use these images to set them on the main sprite. That way, when the game is playing and it's redrawing and updating and redrawing, it knows whether to use the Mario images or the Luigi images. So the main function is loading getting a reference to the music, the audio tags, using getElement by ID, as I've already said before. And these are it says that I'm not using them, but I am using them in the further down in the code, where I'm actually playing these at certain points based on certain events. And then, so here I'm loading the action. I'm telling the main function I want the Mario R1, Mario R2, Mario Dead, these variables which are images, by the way. It's these images here, to load these specific these images to these URLs, right? The other thing is I'm getting a reference to the canvas using get element ID, and then I'm getting the 2D context, which is my canvas. That's where the context, the 2D context of a canvas is what actually allows you to call all the draw functions, so you can actually draw on your canvas. Then I'm hooking up a couple of events. If you remember when I showed you the demo in the beginning, I used this mouse down event, so you could click the mouse to make Luigi or Mario jump, right? Key down does a couple of things. It monitors the W for jumping, A and D to select the Mario or Luigi, and the Enter key to start the game. And after you die, it kind of tells you died, and then if you want to continue, you have to press Enter to continue. The other thing I think I have in here is Escape to pause. That's what the key up and key down events do. So let's see here. So this load level 1 load level 1 function rather, basically loads all the main images that I need, like the heart, the main title, which is the splash screen that appears. Did I screw something up here? Why is this red? Oh, my bad. All right, there we go. So basically, load level 1 is going to load all the images required to be rendered on the screen, right? You got the pipe bottom, pipe top, the clouds, right? And you can see here I'm actually randomizing, right? Randomizing the clouds and the speed as well of the clouds. That's why when you're swimming, some clouds are moving faster than the others. That's exactly. I just wanted to make it a little bit dynamic. So this function, I don't think I even use it. I had it here because I thought I was going to need it for something, but I ended up not using it. Key down event. This is to toggle the pause, I believe. And you just look through these. I have a jump function. That's so that when you press W or you click your mouse, this is the code that executes to actually make Mario or Luigi like swim or jump, right? Reset function. That's not that important. This is just a helper function I ended up not using. I thought I was going to need it, but because I'm using... Oh, one very important thing I actually kind of skipped through. Holy crap. Where the heck is it? It's in the main... Okay. At the very end of the main.js file, I'm using setInterval. It's a JavaScript built-in function to execute my own custom function called startGame, which is this one down here. And basically this is a calculation to figure out how often this should execute. So if you remember at the top, I set it to 30 frames per second. This second parameter takes in milliseconds, so I'm dividing 1,000 by the frames per second. Anyway, so then back to the main game loop. The main game loop has to execute to update the frames, and it's going to update the screen 30 times per second, which is 30 frames per second, right? And so what it does is when the game first starts, the game's not paused. So I mean, the game is paused. So if it's paused, it's going to show the main menu. If it's not paused, it's going to update the screen, all the positions of all the objects, the clouds, the pipes, Mario, everything, right? And then it's going to process a draw, and the draw just draws all the elements in their new positions. So I wanted to make sure this is a very important, and all video, almost as far as I know, I don't know if there's any other way to build a game, but you need to have a main loop in every single video game to refresh your screen. That's basically how games work. So let me scroll down. We saw that. You can look through the update function. You'll see that it's detecting the key states, different key presses, 13 being the enter key. You see, these are, you see how these comments are actually wrong. I believe these are like the W, the D. This is probably, yeah, I don't know what it is, but you got to look these key states up. You can just look up key codes, Google search it. Scroll down a little bit more. If Mario dies or jumps, I have some notes in here. Animate jumping using realistic gravity. So this is where it does the actual gravity force of the swimming with the falling down, and it gradually gets quicker because gravity's pushing Mario or Luigi down. This is where I do the collision to check if Mario collided with a pipe, and if he did, he died basically. And you can see here, if this is true, I'm gonna end up playing the dead music I'm going to pause the main music and I'm going to play the dead music and I'm going to subtract one of his lives, which you can see here. And I changed the Mario image to the dead image, right? And this is basically you'll see when I die, Mario kind of goes toot, 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 and he's kind of like this. You're all familiar with that. So here's my collision detection function. Sorry if I call these methods. I'm a C# guy, so I keep calling these methods for some reason. I know in JavaScript they're functions, but it's the same thing at the end of the day. Anyway, so this function will show the main menu at the beginning that lets you pick Mario. This draw function, you can look through it. I use canvas.drawImage, canvas.fillRect to fill rectangles. I use fill text to draw text. I use stroke text to draw text that's not solid. It has like a drawing of an outline. A couple different things in here. You can just look through this code. If you have questions, let me know. Here's where I draw. I loop through the pipe array, and I believe this where I actually draw the pipes. Yeah, that's it. I loop through the pipe array, and I actually draw the pipes here. Draw the main character, and I draw the level. And just look through this. There's a couple different other things in here. Let me look through here. This code is not that difficult to follow. Very straightforward, I think. It's just there's a couple, obviously with video games, there's a lot of math involved. That's just the way it works. If you're building it from scratch and you're not that good at math, you'll struggle there, which I'm not that good at math, I'll be the first to say. A lot of these calculations I had to Google search them just because, I'm not the best math. Not the best at math. But anyway, so that's the game. This is the little thing at the bottom that I added to show that it's coming from us. Let me know what you guys think. If you have questions, email me. I'd be more than willing to explain a piece of code if there's anything in here that just doesn't make sense. And I hope you guys like it, and feel free to use the code anywhere you want. I don't really care. All right, have a good one. Take care.